Hi folks, welcome to today's travel retrospective, and I've chosen to talk about Sardinia today. I've been a little bit inspired by the blue skies that we've seen today in sunny Worcester, so I'm going to jump onto the screen and I'm going to show you a few of my favourite pictures from the trip that I took with Laura to Sardinia. So I've chosen 12 photos to have a look at, and I'm going to start with this one. Now this is obviously a panorama, and you can tell because of the warped perspective, and that's something that I really like. Now, when me and Laura go travelling, we love to get a rental car, and the little rental car that we got was so typically Italian. It was very small and it was perfect for negotiating the small streets. And I sort of we pulled over into a little lay-by, and I just sort of said to Laura, just go and sit on the bonnet. I'm just going to run up this, this little embankment, and I'm going to just take a shot because we could see all of the beautiful, I think it's called the Gennargentu, which is the mountain range that runs through Sardinia, and we can see that in all its glory, and it's such a harsh, unforgiving landscape there as well. So I just really wanted to show it off, and that was one of my particular favourites. And this is another one that I quite like as well. We've got this from the same scene but in black and white, and we can see Laura there just having a little sip of water, so that's hopefully showing you how warm it is. And you can kind of see with the haze that we can see in black and white, and we've just tried to park in that little bit of shade because when we went it was still springtime. It was very warm, but there were still no leaves on the trees, so catching some shade can be quite tough in Sardinia. Another one that I really like, this was from our Airbnb. Now we had the most amazing view. We stayed in a little village called Maguire, which is on the east side of Sardinia. Really tiny little mountain village. When we got the keys from our Airbnb host, it was actually the Airbnb's host's mom that was there. He didn't speak a word of English, and I had real pidgin Italian, so I had the task of trying to, understand what she was talking about. So we love the place that we stayed at, and this is like a little triptych. For those of you that don't know what a triptych is normally 3 photographs that are positioned together, and they're normally, they can be of the same image, but of different angles of it, or it could just be like a continuation, but we have solid strips that are just sort of discontinued through the image. And this is what I like about this. It's just a window, and I've obviously exposed for the outdoors, but you can see that I'm inside. So again, this is one of my more, how do we put this, contemporary art sort of shots. So another one of my favourites. This one. Now this is a particular shot that I really liked. It's very, very simple in its form. It's a shot of the range of the mountains from one of the viewpoints that we drove to, and it's I think this is a panorama, 3-shot panorama now. I've just pressed something, I don't know what that even means. So yeah, this is another shot that I really like. This is a picture from a viewpoint of the mountain range that I talked about earlier, and it was very hazy because of the hot Italian weather. And I love in the foreground that we've got the sort of green, that you won't be able to see that, but that is greenery on top of those peaks. Then in the background we've got the harsh, actual big rocky crags, and it's a really, really unforgiving place, Sardinia, to go trekking. Trekking is something that we didn't do, so something that we would both be interested to do in the future anyway. So this is one of my favourites. This was a 3-shot panorama, and this is from our local church in our village. Now this shot is, I don't know, for me it says it all about the village that we were in. We've got 4 men just sat having a bit of a lad sort of chat, and they're just sat outside their local church, and I just think it's got such a lovely sense of community and culture. That's what travel photography is all about, isn't it? So I really like it, and we can see these 4 figures, they're all chatting, and what I did on the next one was I zoomed in a bit tighter and I got a shot of them. Now this is cropped a little bit, and I think they are looking at me, but I think if I did this shot again in the future, I think nowadays if I was there, I think I would have tried to engage with them a little bit, even though I don't speak Italian, and I would have tried to take a picture of a more deliberate portrait rather than a candid. And this one's where they've just sort of clocked me, but I think it's got a really kind of interesting character to this shot. I like the fact that the walls in the background are sort of dilapidated a bit, and there's a bit of damage to the outside of the walls, and the guys, I mean, I don't want to guess how old they are, but they look like maybe they've lived there the whole life, I don't know. So a really, really nice portrait that is of the four guys. This photo here, this has been my phone wallpaper for years, since that trip. So we went for a trek to one of the most amazing beaches called Caligolorizza. And on the way, we saw these sheer cliffs. So I just noticed, because this was early morning, this trek, I just said there was a little pool of light, and I just said to Laura, look, just go and stand in that little pool of light and just look up straight at that cliff face. And she did, and I really, really like the effect. It's really, really cool. And I shot this with a wide lens, and you can see the rocky foreground, and it's just, I mean, I've said this word a few times, but it's so unforgiving, Sardinia. It really is. And we felt unprepared because we didn't take walking boots. We were only in trainers. So next time you go, if you ever go, make sure you pack the walking boots if you want to do some trekking. Because it's not the same as trekking in the UK, believe me. Now, I'm going to add a little bit of colour to this portion of the video. Now, this beach that you're about to see is up there with any of the best beaches I've ever seen in my life. It was glorious. The water, I've never seen colours, shades of blue like it. It was so beautiful, and I'm not just over exaggerating. If you ever get the chance to go to Sardinia, then you must visit Caligolorizza, just for its water. Now the trek to get there is not easy. Now from the car to get there, I think that was probably about 2 hours, no, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours back. Wasn't easy at all, but when you get there, just the colours are absolutely amazing. And what we have here is similar to, I've never been, but in the Isle of Skye, there's the Old Man of Storr. We have this needle-shaped rock, and there is one of these that just dominates the landscape at the beach. So I shot I think this was a 6-shot panorama, 3 horizontals and 3 horizontal at the top, and I stitched them all together because the scene was just too big. So I shot that as a panorama, and I really love the effect. I love the water, I love how it all sort of leads into that needle, and the weather was perfect. The sea is almost as amazingly coloured as the sky and vice versa. There wasn't a cloud in the sky that day. Okay, now moving on to this photo. Now, this was I used a big stopper, actually, as I did for the photo before. And taking a big stopper with you to somewhere like this, like almost paradise conditions, you won't regret it, because you can really isolate. Or you don't do it on purpose, it just comes out in the edit, or just comes out in camera. As the sea gets deeper, the blue gets darker as well, which isn't necessarily true, because there are shades of darker blue in the foreground, but you get this lovely turquoise colour in the foreground. And I just love this as almost like a fine art image. We can see this one isolated rock that's just above the waves, and this is 8 seconds, f11, ISO 100 with a 24mm 105, and this is at 24mm. So it really is a beautiful, beautiful composition, and I really, really like this particular picture. I think it just gives a real sense of calm. And similar, the same can almost be said with this. When you get to Caligolorizza, there isn't much. I wouldn't say there's just one beach. There are lots of different coves, and I think it's tidal, so be careful how far you go adventuring, because you might not be able to get back. But you can certainly, jump over a few rocks, and you as you get a bit further, the coves become smaller, and which is what I did here. And because the sun was right behind me, that really did me a favour. I've got a really lovely warm, almost bleached look on the almost orangey beige colour rocks. And then I've got the really dark blues and then the turquoise in the foreground again. Really like that. And with using a polarizer, we can really just, you know, sort of darken that sky to almost like a real navy, royal blue almost. And obviously with that shutter speed, we can really slow it down. What did I do here? This is a 6-second exposure, f11 ISO 100. ISO 100 for the best sort of quality. And yeah, you won't need to shoot above ISO 100 all day if you're in Sardinia, because the light is that good. And moving on, this is probably my favourite image. It's so simple. It is just that rock, but I've just zoomed in on it. This is a 13-second exposure at ISO 100 f11 again. But this, it looks like, oh no, so this is at 50mm. I thought this was with my 50mm lens, but I just zoomed into 50mm. And I've just positioned it slightly to the right, and you can see the outline of the mountains in the back as well. And I just love the different layers of blues, and we've got that sort of where the sea would be battering that rock. We can see the foam, we can see the movement in the waves just around that area, and I think it really isolates it. And I could have put these in black and white, but honestly, you just can't do that. It's just such, the colours are so beautiful. We didn't get a chance to go there at sunrise and sunset, but in my opinion, you don't need to, because these postcard images are maybe better. I don't know. This is how I think you should see these beaches in all their glory, and they really are. You know, the view is just absolutely beautiful. So that's the end of my Sardinia experience. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you've always wanted to go to Sardinia, you should definitely go. Now, I lived in London for a while, and so there's just me there and 5 Italians, and I was always asking them where the best places in Italy to go are, and they told me to go to Sardinia because they said the beaches were, you know, better than the Caribbean. I didn't really believe them at first, did a bit of research, found Caligularizza, and I just became obsessed with it, and we absolutely loved it. It's perfect for the 2 of you to go, but make sure you take 3 things. Make sure you take a map, make sure you take your walking boots, and make sure you take your polarizer if you're a photographer, because there's so many shots that you'll want to get with the water, with the sea, so you can really take the glare off those rocks and, you know, things like that, and you can really darken those quite harsh blue skies. So thanks for watching, folks. I really hope that you're inspired to go and maybe go to some paradise islands now. I've got great memories of Sardinia. Now, what I want you to urge you to do is to have a look at my blog. Now, if you go to my website, which is andrewmaguire.co.uk, on the blog section, here is my this is all about Sardinia. So I've got lots of pictures, lots of information about it, what we got up to, so you can see much more pictures. You can see many more pictures on here. So thanks for watching as always. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and tell your friends. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Da da